Must be a slow news day today.
I don't know.
No, a 7-year-old, you know.
You didn't want to hear, so serious danger there.
Hey, Kathy, how you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
How's that little girl doing?
She's wild and crazy.
Everybody ready?
Almost. 45's almost there.
Well, we got it. Say it out loud.
White count.
Got it. I mean, you got everybody here today.
No, I think Fox.
Well, actually, Sergeant Umanzar got y'all here. We're good?
Yes, sir.
All righty. My name is Mark Herman. I'm the elected constable here with Harris County Constable's Office, Precinct 4. My office had conducted an undercover sting operation over the last 2 weeks. We had received numerous tips and complaints. One of the tips was from our partners over at Crime Stoppers. It was probably the tip that really started our investigation. So I want to recognize Crime Stoppers and the great work that they do for the citizens of Houston, Harris County. Crime Stoppers is a tremendous asset to us here in law enforcement. So our undercover unit we started receiving complaints about possible prostitution activities in and out of a house in one of our predominantly affluent neighborhoods. We immediately set up undercover surveillance and was able to determine that there was probable cause to believe that illicit activity was happening at that location. A couple of nights ago, our undercover units had set up a appointment with this female that was basically prostituting herself out of this home. And our undercovers went to the home, made a deal with this lady, at which time she was arrested along with her husband. Rose Colton was charged with prostitution. Once undercover units got inside the house, the house was in total disarray. Lieutenant Slyman, can you put the screen up of the house, please, inside? These are just some photographs that we took from inside the house. And about the time we were seeing this, we ended up, the units clearing the house determined that there was a 7-year-old female in this house also, in the same room to where this lady was alleged to be conducting sex acts. We immediately, isolated the 7-year-old, got her in a safe location. We contacted Children's Protective Services, gave them the information on what we had. They immediately instructed us to take custody of the 7-year-old. The mother, Rose Colton, was arrested for prostitution, child endangerment. The husband, Richard Colton, was arrested for child endangerment only at this time. That is an ongoing investigation. I do anticipate we will be filing more criminal charges, possibly on both of them. But that's an ongoing process. Mr. Colton had his day in court, I believe, last night. I think they gave him a $15,000 bond. He is still in custody. Miss Colton, Rose Colton, will have, I think, an arraignment today, and they'll determine her bond. The 7-year-old child, again, was released in the custody of Children Protective Services. We, our undercover investigators, ordered forensic interviews with the 7-year-old yesterday evening, and we did find some things that will aid us in possible further charges, but at this time, we do not feel that this child was involved in any kind of sexual activity in the house at this time. Now, there are indicators to our investigators that there possibly could have been some things that could have happened had this continued to go on, but I really don't want to go into that at this point. This is an ongoing investigation. It is fluid. Again, don't be surprised if you don't see additional charges filed on the 2 adults in this case, probably in the next week or so. This was an elaborate scheme to where these folks would advertise on the dark web websites. And some of the tips we got alerted us to this, and our undercover units were able to have dialogue with these folks on those websites. I will open it up for any questions or comments that you may have.
You mentioned that the child was in the house when the acts were going on. Was the child in the room or just in the house?
I would say close proximity to where it's going on.
How was she when you all were able to save her?
Well, I have not personally spoke to the investigators, but of course she was confused, and you know, it's a bad situation when you have police in your house, and you know, understand. You know, I spoke to the supervisor over this, and this is all this child knew. I mean, this here to this child is probably normal, and they know nothing else. But I can tell you this here, as a father and a grandfather looking at this, it's pathetic, and we're not going to allow it, and we're not going to allow them breaking the law. We're not going to allow them to, you know, do this to a 7-year-old, and we thank God for Children's Protective Services taking the action they did, and you know, like I say, this is going to be an ongoing deal. You know, and I do anticipate there will be more forensic interviews with this 7-year-old.
How long do you think this has been going on there?
We feel it's been going on for quite some time.
We're told by neighbors at least a year. They've been reporting it every week. Do we know exactly the timeline and how much?
Yeah, that's something our investigators are going back, looking at certain things. Some of these websites, you know, you got to subpoena the information, and that takes time. But just from what I've been briefed on, I do anticipate, you know, again, possibly more charges. And, you know, we did speak with some of the neighbors there in the area, and, you know, so we'll continue to see where this takes us. But the main thing is, first of all, these two adults, they're going to get what they got coming. But my main concern is that 7-year-old, taking care of that child, and, you know, making sure she's not ever put back in this environment again.
Constable, how was her condition? How was her health?
She seemed fine. Yeah, the guys, you know, was able to isolate her, and you know, she didn't need medical attention or anything like that. Again, you know, this is probably all this 7-year-old knew, and it was probably normal to her. You know.
Could right now, could you say that you're 100% confident that this child was not sexually abused?
I'm never going to say 100%. I would say that this investigation is ongoing. I can tell you that from what I heard from the forensic interviews yesterday, that there is nothing that leads us to believe that this child was involved in any kind of sexual activity in the house. Now, will there be more forensic interviews? I do believe so. But I think it would be, I don't think it would be right for me to come in here and lead down a path that's not there. And as of yesterday, that path is not there. Now, can it change? Absolutely. Things always change, and either for the good or for the bad. But one thing that I do believe, and I've been doing this 36 years, is that light always invades darkness. And this here was a dark situation, regardless of whether, you know, she was or she wasn't, that could have led down a bad path for this 7-year-old had it kept going. But right now, there's nothing that leads us to believe that.
And it was just,
Constable, talk about how important it is for people to call police, to call in tips to Crime Stoppers. These people possibly saved her life.
Yes. Well, and I can tell you, I was just at a press conference with Crime Stoppers yesterday with Ronnie McCarris and her entire group. Sheriff Ed Gonzalez was there. Jim McInville was there with us. It is very important. I mean, if you see something, say something. The people, you know, what's made us so successful in law enforcement are the people we serve. The people we serve that live in these communities, they know what's going on in their communities. And they call us. I'm probably over 90% of what we do is derived from the people we serve. And but it's very, very important.
Constable, people in the neighborhood were also fearful of people that actually visited this house in particular. Some people were threatened with weapons, other people verbally. Are you guys gonna, I know you guys are stretched thin, everybody is, police-wise, are you guys gonna be upticking patrolled in the area to help the neighborhood feel safe?
Right. Well, first of all, we're never stretched thin enough to protect to protect our citizens, no matter what it is. We will do whatever it takes. I mean, we'll do whatever it takes to keep the comfort level of not only that community but all our communities. And you know, the challenge that we have right now in law enforcement is we need our criminal courts to open up. We got some of these judges down there that haven't had trials. Kim Ogg's down there doing her job. I mean, she is out down there taking care of business. The bottleneck is in our criminal courts. We've got to get the courts open, and if we don't do that, we have cases that are backlogged, for years. And the bad guys know this. I mean, they know that when it comes time to making a plea bargain or bargaining their case, the longer they wait, possibly the better deal they're going to get. And I'm going to tell you, I'm very, very proud of all of law enforcement in Harris County. HPD, Chief Fenner and his group, Ed Gonzalez, all 8 constables. We never stopped. I mean, even through the pandemic. Kim Ogg's office never stopped. But we must fully fund our DA and our courts to keep the ball rolling. Without the courts, people ask me, they said, Mark, have we turned into the county of no consequence to breaking the law? And I believe we have. And that's because of our court system downtown. If it doesn't change down there, Harris County is in for some very dark days ahead.
Constable, what are some ways or tips that neighbors can detect these kinds of situations, or some warning signs that people can look for in their own neighborhoods?
Well, I can tell you in this particular case, they saw people coming and going at late hours of the night, different times. I think one of the tips we got was one of the neighbors did some research and actually found this person, one of the suspects, on one of the dark websites. And so we not only got information from Crime Stoppers, Lieutenant, go ahead and put their pictures up. Not only from Crime Stoppers, but we did get multiple tips from other residents in that area. So,
Constable, talk about this case honestly. We've seen some horrific cases before involving children, but she's alive. You said she is healthy. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of this in my career. I hope that there is nothing more with the child with this case. I do. I really do. But I do feel that if that is the case and there's nothing else, that Crime Stoppers and some of these folks that brought this to our attention to allow us to intervene on behalf of this child possibly saved her from bad things ahead of her. I mean, because it's very difficult to have this kind of environment, these kind of role models, and not get sucked into that vacuum, if you will, of the lifestyle. And again, this child, I mean, that was normal to her, seeing the house in that, kind of condition. And so we think it's important that people called us, let us know, let us get out and do our job and do what we had to do.
Can you go more to the condition? Was there animals?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about animals. I didn't even ask that question.
Do you know if the couple have more children?
Not to my knowledge.
And Constable, is the child the biological kid of both parents or just the mom?
It's my understanding just the mom.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, that's my understanding, but I could be wrong.
And did he adopt this child, or is this just
Don't
mom's
know.
husband?
Don't know.
Okay.
Do we
Yeah.
know if the kid actually saw people come in? Like,
Oh yeah. Again, the forensic interview gave us some information that I really don't want to discuss, but yeah, the child was very well aware of some of the comings and goings there. Yes.
So you're not able to describe what she said?
No,
at all?
I'd prefer not to.
But it's not like they try to hide her when this was happening. It was just.
No, I just yeah.
She was exposed to it in some
She was
way.
exposed to it in some manner, and I truly believe she can't comprehend even what it is. I mean, it's just one of those things, but it's not something that we're gonna allow and tolerate, and we'll stand up for the kids.
Just to be clear, when the rescue, I guess, happened when they were undercover, it was 2 constables, or was it 1? Or how many constables at the time?
In the raid was dozens.
Okay.
but
No, I meant,
but
like,
but
there
no,
was
we
2 who made the contact.
yeah. No, one of our undercovers made contact. A deal was made. I mean, I don't want to go into details as far as what we have people listening and devices and the whole 9 yards. And once the signal's given, the rest of the cavalry comes in and secures that scene. And again, at that point, we found the 7-year-old.
When the raid happened, did y'all knock on the door? Like, did they knock on the door and she let them in, or like, how did the raid actually happen and how did they handle it?
We made an appointment. One of our undercovers made an appointment to go visit her.
Right, I'm saying when the other officers came, were they already there? Or
Yeah, the door was done open. I mean, our guy was done there and done, had the door open and everybody came in. And I'll tell you, we've had surveillance set up on that house for several weeks. We didn't even know there was a kid in there. And so we didn't find that out till then. And so.
Does it sound like this child was even going to school, or?
That's all part of the investigation. Yeah, we're looking into some other avenues, and now that we know the logistics and what we have, they're starting to branch out a little bit into those areas. So, all righty.
We're good. I have a question about the heavy police presence in Harvest Bend subdivision. You guys are searching for a suspect who invaded police after making an unlawful entry to a home. Sorry, can you?
Is that going on right now?
Yeah, that's what we saw. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Canine gun.
Okay, yeah. So
Give us a rundown on that, please.
Yes, and again, I don't know other than what she just told me.
Oh.
But obviously, we had a situation where what you just said, somebody went into a house and he took off on foot. And I'm just going to say this, okay? I have 5 canines, okay? If you run from us either in a car or on foot, we will chase you and we will catch you. And if we set a perimeter up, I think we're almost at 100% on catching them. In other words, if you're on foot, we get a police perimeter set up and it's secure, you're inside that perimeter, our dogs will catch you. And but in this particular case, it was an evading case. I guess they broke into a house or tried to. I don't know the information, but they fled. Perimeter was set up. We got the suspect in custody, Cynthia?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, anything else?
Can we go back to the slides and turn the light off?
Yeah. Somebody get that light. Slyman, can you back up to the, there we go. Perfect. Any other questions for me? I'm sliding out. Slyman, before you do your thing, put Crime Stoppers back up there. You got to shoot that too.
Thank you, Constable.
All right, thank y'all. Y'all have a safe day.
Take care.
I'm gonna email these photos as well.
And the press release? Okay, thank you.